We have the honor to be here once again with Andrew Kramer.
You tackle one thing at a time. The lighting, we need global illumination. Now we gotta figure out how to make eyes look real.
It's the most identifiable element. Let's just see if we can find it in some of these shots here. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Stick around to the end to see how you can get a free trial of a premium membership.
Hey, what's up? Andrew Kramer here, and welcome back to another very exciting episode of VFX Artist React.
Ah, so good.
Wonderful.
Man, it's like I have my headphones, I sit at my computer, ready to learn.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Chances are you guys know who Andrew Kramer is, but if you don't, Andrew basically has done the entire world of VFX artists and indie filmmakers a huge favor and basically taught everybody how to do visual effects.
Andrew's video copilot has been around for a very long time. You'll see a lot of it on TV, sometimes in movies, and we actually might see a couple things in some of the clips we have today, just maybe.
Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days?
We've been doing a lot of software development lately. They call it software development hell, except it's worse than hell. Actually, there was this funny meme talking about VFX. He says, VFX is easy. It's like riding a bike, except the bike's on fire, and the ground's on fire, and everything's on fire because you're in hell.
That's a good one. Oh, CW is always a gold mine.
Whoa.
Ugh.
It's pretty crazy looking.
Dude, I'd be so scared.
I used to have this Hulk Hogan action figure. Looks exactly like that.
Gutsy of them to do a full CG character in a TV show, knowing all the constraints.
It's a really challenging thing to do a character that's full CG,
Good God,
that's
yeah.
in daylight. You know, you often see this with like a creature. They'll film it sort of surreptitiously, or you can feel their presence, but as soon as you really have a full shot where they're having to pose in a kind of a dramatic way, and you have the time constraints of a TV show where maybe you're working on it for a couple of weeks and you have to try to create this massive shot, it's a big task to pull off.
Not gonna lie, the transition was really cool with the veins and displacements.
Yeah, it was really good.
Like the way his fingers move there is so good.
That to me though, like with the veins on it, that looks like a prosthetic. But then look at the shadow under the thumb. It kind of looks a little fake, so I wonder if it really is CG.
He might have that prosthetic on, and he's hiding it there. He reveals the practical element there, and then they might be doing some stuff on the fingers.
I think it's CG the whole time.
Maybe it is CG, because actually the hair on the arm, you see the mat doesn't quite cover over that hair. And so they're putting the CG arm over the hair, and they just didn't roto out the hair.
I think it's a testament to how good the effects are for this opening shot.
I mean, it looks great. This is definitely the money shot.
It's weird because if you freeze frame it, he looks fine, but it's the animation. I see what they're going for, but I feel like there's like a 5% weirdness in the proportion that's not what they were going for, is what it feels like.
The animation is just one of those things like you just have to put in the time. I'm sure the animator had all of a day to do all these shots. And if you don't have the time, you're gonna get as close as you can. Maybe you have a janky motion capture. That's still going to need work to turn it into this creature. You can't just paste a regular human's motion capture onto it and have it work.
The people who do the creatures the best, you know, they really build their system around bones and muscles, and they really think about the mechanics of how the character moves. You know, you kind of feel like it's more being warped as it's moving rather than sticking to like a formation of a character rig. That creates kind of like a clay feeling versus a real rigid strength that, you know, you see from Planet of the Apes, where the characters just feel so powerful and grounded.
I think this shows the benefit of how far rendering technology and lighting simulation has come, because at any point if you pause it, the composite matches, the color levels match, all that HDRI technology, that's all here. And it shows in the renders. Like the renders look really good.
Yeah.
But you still end up with a very challenging problem that really hasn't been solved, and it goes all the way back to the beginning of cartoons, which is the motion. Some person has to sit there and just guess, how does an 8-foot tall dude punch when he's got arms that are bigger than a tree? There's so many nuances to motion on top of the acting and performance that you have to do. It's really challenging.
So Andrew, you mentioned Weta and how they do a good job, and when I saw District 9, that movie blew me away. I couldn't stop staring at those creatures. Obviously, I know they're fake, but they look so good. Compared to what we just saw, why does this look so much better?
What makes it look real good to me is the contact with the ground, the walking, the weight. You can see the real character's shadows going across the CG character's face that make them feel like they're close to each other because they're actually affecting each other's light source. Even stuff like simulation of cloth and things like that. Just those subtle things that make it feel connected to the world.
I'm gonna go and have a little chat with your little son. No, go through it.
I mean, there's a couple of other things happening here outside just like the rendering and the animation being good. There's way more involvement with the camera. It's handheld. It's low shutter, so it's blurry when it moves. You know, if your animation is hard to do for your character, but then your camera's moving all over the place with actual human motion, that hides a little bit of your animation.
They're definitely firing on all cylinders here with tracking and lighting, and the way it's animated feels real. And to be fair, I'm guessing that these guys had more time than the CW show had.
Probably.
For sure, for sure. You tackle one thing at a time. It's like, okay, the lighting, we need global illumination. Now we gotta figure out how to make eyes look real.
The contact shadows of the ground, painting out the guy who did the mocap.
Oh, right.
Dude,
all those things.
dude, I can't, oh my God.
You guys can appreciate that from the unnamed robot series.
I mean, I think what makes the prawns feel like characters, it's the eyes, the animation, and then the story.
Oh yeah.
You know, just setting up a good dilemma.
Thank you, boy. And go home. You have to make it. Don't make me go through all of this and not make it. You understand?
And you know what, it's just a parallel of real life. You know, you're getting invested in it. And this guy could be a rock. It doesn't matter, it could be a blob. The same emotions would happen.
When this movie came out, for the budget of this movie, the quality is just incredible. The amount of visual effect shots that were in this movie to pull this off when this movie came out still blows my mind.
Hey, if we brought a smile to your face, or if your brain grew just a little bit, then subscribe, because we got a lot more of these guys, and they're fun to do.
I've seen this before. This is really impressive.
So cool.
There's something that's just magical about this stuff. It's so cool. Like all the news channels would all have some cool animation that was like handmade.
Oh, that's really cool.
Look at
wow. Just using a moire effect. Is
That
it
is
moire
awesome.
or moire?
Let's leave that in the comments. What do you guys think? Write it out in the comments the way you think it should be. I think I say more.
I mean, it's French, right?
Who knows? So this is actually a physical sculpture of these like chrome letters.
That's awesome.
And then the way that they did that, like with like a slow shutter and these lights spinning on this thing.
Wait, that's real?
It's like a little light rig.
That's so ingenious.
All these tricks, man. God dang. I guess we all do the same stuff. We're just hunched over a keyboard.
Slightly less charming, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Doing things with computers, I've done it for long enough that it's like, okay, I could see how I would do this or that. But some of this stuff, like those lights coming across, these magic tricks that like blow my mind. And I'm just like, how do they even come up with this stuff?
Yeah, man, so much work.
Just fun to see how they had a vision and they still, you know, were ambitious enough to kind of pull something like that off.
Did you guys ever see the sheet music for the THX logo?
No.
I believe it was to demonstrate all the frequency ranges they could do, then coming down to one uniform note. I kind of miss it because it was a great demonstration of like, all right, here's the dynamic range of the piece you're about to watch, from low to really loud. Is that good?
Turn it up! Turn it up!
It's kind of a nice little calibration you could do at the very beginning.
Just the whole idea of the sound design that went along with more abstract visuals.
It was nothing you'd ever seen before. I feel like this was some kind of the big promise of CG back in the days, was being able to do these kind of really abstracted, impossible creations.
So the one we did is the 2019 one.
Whoa, it's so crisp. Ah, it's like so much more advanced already.
Jeez.
Damn.
Those colors are great.
Are you throwing back to some of the other logos there?
Yeah, so we use like the plants from the other life one. We have the dragonfly. You know, we bring text back here.
Yeah, there's that robot.
Wow, it's like a mix of everything. That's crazy. So, there's no way that's one project file. And then you hit render and went to sleep.
Yeah, it's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna fire this off. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
The space scene is one scene, and it turns into the background right here behind the mountains. So then the mountains is another scene. But you did have to stitch them together. We wanted you to be able to look at it go out of focus and be distorted, but we really tried to stretch out the overlapping of the two cameras. But of course, we couldn't do it all in one scene. It would just be impossible. Although there's some guy out there is like, I did it. It's like, oh. Some 3D software works better for specific things. So like Octane just does amazing stuff with like organic and nature and uses a physically based system. So when you're really up close and you're seeing the translucency of the dragonfly wings and the water drops in the same scene, it really has just some of those great physical properties. And then a scene like the city where it's really massive, Redshift just had some memory management tools that just allowed us to blend the two scenes together. And then part of it is just some artists prefer to work in this program and some artists prefer to work in that program. And at the end of the day, you're just like, hey, make it look good, and we'll go with that. When they came to us to do this project, they wanted it to be 4K, they wanted it to be this intricate film. There was ways to see it in certain THX theaters. I got a chance to see it in a theater, and it was like pretty amazing. Sorry, kids, just watch it on the phone there. So good. I watch it on my phone a million times.
I do have one last thing. In 2009, Andrew put out a pack of visual effects elements which have been used millions of times the world over. Things like muzzle flashes, smoke, and blood hits. And there's one blood hit in particular where it goes and it makes an X. It's the most identifiable element. I almost feel like it's become the Wilhelm scream for VFX artists. So I feel like it's hidden in almost every blood shot in season 1 here of Walking Dead. So let's just see if we can find it in some of these shots here. Oh, there's one. There it is again, right there.
There's two.
This is actually a pretty good composite. You know why I think it actually works good here is because I think she's actually moving in slow motion. And the elements are captured in slow motion, which was kind of an interesting challenge when you're shooting VFX elements because film is 24 frames per second. But when you're doing something exciting, you want to do something slow motion, having a higher frame rate to work with is nice.
Yeah.
But things like liquids, they move so fast that they kind of just look like a blur. And if you speed up something that was shot in slow motion, it looks too choppy and then it doesn't look like real blood either. So the solution is to shoot blood elements at native frame rates like 24 or 30 and do some of the slow motion stuff. Unlike an explosion, which is kind of an arbitrary phenomenon, it doesn't necessarily look bad if you speed it up or slow it down because with all of the glow and all the other things, you don't notice it as much. But things like liquids that are close up, you can't just speed them up. So I give that a 9 out of 10.
Oh, there it is.
That's it, yeah.
I saw it just freezes also. Boom, there it is.
Yep.
This is the cleanest shot, the X.
Yep.
It can't be more obvious than that. Just that one element, the guy dropped it in, rotated the guy's arm, called it a day, came back the next day and did it for 20 more shots.
Good for that guy.
When you see your stock elements pop up in films and TV, does it distract you?
If it's bad, sometimes. But I also see it often used so well. It's fun. Listen, I film these like in the back of this parking lot, blowing up little packets of blood and trying to use a green screen to keep it all in frame. Maybe we'll come out with a new collection that has everything all thought out even better. Maybe we've already been working on it for the past 2 years. I mean, look.
Maybe.
We don't know.
If you guys have any movies or TV shows where you see the classic Blood X, leave a comment down below. We'll take a look. We'll break it down. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll find out.
Everybody, it is a new year. Happy New Year's, and it's a perfect time to make some New Year's resolutions. So I'm here to talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is a site dedicated to learning, to teaching you something new. And whether you're somebody who's doing it for a career or somebody who's just doing it for fun, Skillshare has you covered. Everything from creative photography and video lessons, or even just how to grow nice houseplants. Skillshare has everything you need. Members get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a community of millions. And most classes are under 60 minutes with short lessons to fit any schedule. And there's no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes. And it's less than $10 a month when you have an annual subscription. I spent a little bit of time on Skillshare to see what kind of cool classes they had, and one caught my eye in particular. It's a lesson on how to find your own style, because there are certain patterns and nuances and things that you bring to the table that are part of your voice. It's taught by Andy J. Pizza. Yes, the inventor of pizza himself. No, I'm kidding. So if you would like to learn something in this new year, well, head on over to Skillshare.com. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below will be offered a free premium membership trial. So go check it out. And now back to the episode so we may say goodbye to our pal, Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much for coming out here. It's really great to see you again. Is there anything in particular you think people should check out right now that you're working on?
I think if anything, if you're interested in visual effects, it's really approachable. We have a plugin that's free called Saber that does some really cool light effects.
Back in the day when I started doing visual effects, it was lightsabers. That was my very first effect. Little by little, our knowledge grew. So if you guys want to get started on visual effects, never be afraid to just jump in with one thing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's a really fun thing to learn. So, definitely check us out at Video Copilot. We've got a couple of really cool new plugins coming out, and when those drop, we'll let you know.